All right, good evening. How's it going? So, we had a bit of an interesting development today as Nick decided to do a Saturday stream, which I guess is his Friday. I think there's a fairly rare... Oh, no, I guess he used to do them. It doesn't matter. Anyway, the stream's not good, but he's going to tell his side of the story. The stream was entitled Not Talking About the Things People Want to Hear About, and he spends the first 20 minutes talking about his case and telling you why you're wrong and why he's a good boy that didn't do nothing. We're going to review this. It's not going to be the whole stream. It's just going to be the first 20 minutes because I think the other hour is just him reading an ethics complaint, which isn't very interesting, but you can watch it on his channel if you want to see it. There's a couple other timestamps I've got written down for some interesting super chats. But this stream, it posed some questions. And it's probably a good example of why you shouldn't be streaming right now, because there was a hot mic at the beginning. And we're going to have a little listen to that. It implies that April is in the house, which isn't a surprise to most people. But it certainly doesn't look good. Now, I should warn you that in about 15 minutes, I have a delivery coming. So there will be a jump scare at some point. But hopefully it won't interrupt the show too much. So the first part of the stream started like this. We're going to have to try and use our imaginations a little bit on this one. But it started off like this. And I don't know why you'd press live and then get up from your desk and go look for something, because he forgot his ethics complaint, which is the whole point. So let's go through it. I think this is the non-audio one, but you can listen a little bit. I've got these subtitles turned on as well, which can help us a little bit. All right, so you can say the YouTube closed captions isn't perfect, but it kind of helps you sometimes. So he said, I believe he said, I didn't bring down the fan mail, which is what he calls an ethics complaint. And the ethics complaint is a big nothing burger. It's basically someone saying like he's a lawyer and he's swearing. So it's like a completely bogus ethics complaint. There is one little funny thing about the ethics complaint, though, is that the person's address is redacted, because Nick got into a little bit of hot water the first time I think he got his channel like yeeted for like a week or something, because he had about 5 ethics complaints. And he was going to read their entire names and addresses, which would constitute doxing. And while that's not illegal, many people reported the stream because of that. And I'm not showing the audio. Good thing we only done a few seconds. Good thing we've only done a few seconds. Yeah, we'll replay it. Oh, dear. But all right. But basically, it's a little bit funny because he's saying that maybe they've added a change to the ethics complaint themselves because of him reading them live on stream. All right, so we'll go back.
Fuck, I didn't bring the fan mail down.
So he's got the F-bomb. I didn't bring down the fan mail. It says P-mail on the thing. That's not what it says. I didn't bring down the fan mail. The ethics complaint. So you have the female voice in the background, which is April, we assume.
Can you go ask?
Now, you see, why would it be April? First of all, this audio was sent to Aaron, and he confirms that it's April's voice. But, you know, sometimes you can mix up a woman's voice. But the question is, if there was only 2 people in the house, Nick and his wife, Kayla, why would he say, can you go ask? Can you go ask someone, etc.? Because there's a third person in the house who can't be any of the children because they are with foster care. So it would have to be April, right?
I have a... Oh, wait, I hid it somewhere in here.
Okay, so he's looking for his ethics complaint. He's like, oh, I hid it somewhere in here, which is really funny when you think about it. It's like, hey, honey, have you seen my ethics complaints? Where are my ethics complaints, honey? But yeah, it's April. It's April.
Just a second.
See if there's anything.
For now. I have a fucking complaint, an ethics complaint.
So he said something not to worry about for now, but then he's looking for his ethics
complaint. I don't remember where I fucking put it. Wait, here it is. Here it is.
All right, so it was just on his desk or something. Now, some more evidence to suggest that April is at the house as their permanent live-in nanny / sister wife or something. So Aaron on his show, he says, that was April's voice we heard helping Rekieta set up his stream tonight. He confirms yes. He also did a little bit of exposing on his own show where he said that April was wearing in this new profile picture of hers. He implied that this is a tree and in Rekieta's house, and he also has April's wearing a watch that is allegedly Nick's watch, which confirms a bit offensive, I would say, to Kayla to be putting a new profile picture with your man's watch. But I guess if she's down with a throuple now or something, I don't know. But Aaron confirms that he believes it is April. Oh, and also this would imply that April is, of course, the corner demon who sits on the chair with the towel on it, which many people have already assumed, but seems pretty much confirmed at this point. I think that's the end of it, though. I'll just listen to the end. It's only 10 more seconds, and then we'll get into the mainstream, which are going to be fact-checking some of the what I would say gaslighting by Nick, but we'll see. You can make your own opinion. Be your own judge. All right. I think that's everything. Yeah. Okay. So this could have been trimmed down a little bit. All right. Let's go into the stream. Also, kind of funny. We'll watch this on like 1.25 speed. It shouldn't take too long. This should be a short stream, but I'm not sure. We'll see. A lot of people in the chat were saying hot mic, hot mic, hot mic, which is kind of funny. Also, you can see that he actually, that maybe is a bit too fast at first. Hold on, we'll just go to normal. We'll see how it is. You can see he has made some changes to his studio. He's put up a new painting that was on the floor before. So very busy setting up his studio. He now has 3 paintings. Every other stream, you'll get a new painting. It's a lot of work. He does have a heat allergy. Oh, actually, that's another thing that was interesting about this stream is he's actually standing up. And you can see in certain parts of the stream, his arms scabs. So you can see some here. You'll see it throughout the stream as well. This one is a little bit better. So this is what the officers referred to as the track marks consistent with injectables. Now, it's my personal opinion that he's not actually injecting anything. I think this is maybe either just from scratching because he's like tweaking or something. But it could definitely be from his heat allergy and just like, or hives or something, or bug bites. You never know. They only seem to be on the inside of the arm, around the veins, which is a little bit suspicious. This one in particular looks like where you would inject something, like you would tie off the you know what I mean, right? You know what I mean. But it's my personal opinion that if he was doing any of that stuff, then they would have found needles and other things in his house. But you know, be your own judge in that part. I just thought it was an interesting little detail, and you will notice it throughout this. What he did say, he was getting test shots. Well, those could be anywhere though. They could be in the shoulder, the bum, or the arm. I don't know. When I get a like a tetanus shot or something, it's usually my arm, like my upper shoulder. It's usually not down here. I don't know. That seems kind of weird. The only time I get like something in here, it's kind of like when I'm getting a blood test. Oh, testosterone shots. No, I think he was advertising. He was advertising something. That's in his as part of the stream. He does like a thing, and he's shilling this. Feel your best. So he's age-defying deer extract or something. So it's total snake oil. If you have to be stupid to buy this shit, I think. But anyway, that was the only thing that the Rumble automated, I guess, because he's using the Rumble studio now as well. Let's just say that's not. I'm not saying they're track marks. I don't think they are personally, but you know, you can judge that for yourself. I've said from the beginning that I don't think he's doing the injectables.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Hot Mike Explaining the Interwebs. I'm
he gets into it pretty quick.
The kinks on everything. Still working out the kinks on everything. Clearly, I'm not good at running a Rumble Studio yet.
I'm kind of curious why you would bother using Rumble Studio if it's such a piece of shit. Like, just use your regular setup, especially since you're trying to do like this new comeback to YouTube. It seems like a big mistake, in my opinion.
Because if I was good at running Rumble Studio, I would have known that you can add the microphone, have that live, I guess, while the I don't know. What do you mean? Well, I'm not actually on.
Well, some people were also saying that he kept looking offside and it looked like he was reading from a script when he gets into his big speech about how he's a good boy and didn't do nothing. I think Nick just looks around like he's got like multiple screens. I think that's just something he does. But again, you can judge for yourself.
I didn't think I was actually in the thing yet. So how's it going, guys? I hope you're doing well.
A bit of a naughty person in chat saying, "Hey, April." That's kind of funny.
We're here. We're here. It's time to get back and get back into the swing of things a little bit.
A bit of cheeky word use there as well, getting back into the swing of things. But
better. Anyway. I was going to do this the other day and just kind of have a normal stream, probably a little shorter than we were doing, a little shorter than usual. But was going to have a little bit of a shorter stream, and then some things happened right before that stream that kind of needed to be addressed.
I never said I never said I don't like drama. I said everyone says they don't like drama, but they do love drama. But this isn't drama. This is just reporting the news that it's interesting to people.
Kind of needed to be addressed, but now that's been partly addressed, and I'm going to avoid most of the fucking questions about it and everything else, because my case, I can't talk about much. However,
he will talk about some though. Like why talk about anything though? That's kind of the question. Everyone has said don't talk about it. He himself has said that he would like courts to be open, but not about his case. And also he told Vic that Vic should be getting out in front and trying to control the narrative. It seems like a terrible idea to say anything. Either go all the way in or just say nothing.
True idiotic fashion, we're probably going to discuss things a little bit, at least in the abstract, because there's a lot of misunderstanding and misconception going on and basic lack of reading skills. And I will try, if I can, to address issues generically, as generically as possible, without getting specific into my case, which is definitely going to go really well and not fuck me over in any way at all. Thanks, government. Coof. I
think he should have picked, like, this is obviously just some silly criticism, but I think he should have picked a lighter drink, because seeing his arms struggle to pick up this tankard of iced tea is a little bit embarrassing.
Straight away says, thank you for not killing yourself. Thanks, Coof.
That's becoming a meme, by the way, that he gets a super chat that always says thanks for not offering yourself. But he responded a little bit better to this one. The last time he did this, it was touching. He said like it was touch and go there for a second. Obviously, he was probably joking, I assume, but it doesn't look good. He's doing a lot of self-felting at the moment.
The night is young. Just kidding. Holy shit, that was a joke. That was a joke.
A little bit of truth in every joke, though.
All right, guys. This just briefly to address the elephant.
Are his mods still deleting super chats? So I don't think I saw any super chats being deleted on this. Oh shit! There's the jump scare. I'll be right back. All right, sorry about that. Okay. Yeah, I told you there'd be a jump scare. It actually scared me though, because I was getting into the thick of things. There may be one additional jump scare, but only if this stream goes on for like 2 hours. All right, let's continue.
In the stream, there's an ongoing criminal case with me, as has been released in some ways. There's another ongoing matter that runs parallel to that. It involves my family, and people are...
Oh, I was going to say, sorry, before I lose the train of thought there. I didn't see any of the chats being deleted, but he does address that people would... Mods were deleting the super chats, and he said that the mods were only deleting super chats that had sensitive information about children in them. That's not the case. A lot of them were jokes. A lot of them were just detractors. So the mods were absolutely going crazy, which is a complete reversal of his previous policy about the only rule in his chat being to not spam.
Very, very eager.
And also taking people's money when you don't read the chat, that's pretty scummy. Just refund it or something, right?
To have a bunch of details about my children, which, you know, I guess if that's what they want to do.
All right, hold on. I'm going to go back a second here because this is a lie.
Parallel to that, it involves my family, and people are very, very eager and keen to have a bunch of details about my children.
No, this is not true. People are not interested in the details about his children. Of course, they want to see that they're safe. They're interested in the body cam footage. But you'll actually notice that the people that are being very critical of Nick are the ones that are censoring out the children's names and the details about them. Now, of course, this information is very easily accessible on the public side of things, but the people that Nick has in his court, like Ralph, are the ones that are so eager to actually say the names. I think for everyone that I've seen that's being sort of a detractor at this point, so like Andrew, Legal Mindset, Sean, myself, Kino Casino, they've all edited out the children's names. But when I see people that are defending Nick, they're always the ones that are saying, you can find the names very easily. I'm not going to bother. In fact, when I was watching Camelot's stream, he was going to read the document on the coke test just straight up without bothering to censor it until his chat talked him into reading it off stream, so he wouldn't do that. So I thought it was just like a little interesting detail that the people that he keeps like around him, like the people that are in the Baldo bunker, essentially, are the ones that are the laziest when it takes like 5 minutes. Or not even that. It takes like a couple seconds to like here, I redacted this myself. And it's like, what, a couple pages I just had to block out. So no, this is not the case. People don't want to care. People don't want to see the children. People don't want to find out things about them. They want to see that they want to know that they're okay, but they want to know they're okay by seeing the body cam footage and the state of the living situations and how the police interacted. So this is a complete lie that is being put forth to discredit people that are critical of him and say, well, obviously they just want to know about the kids. Isn't that weird? A bit strange, isn't it? No, it isn't, because it's not true. All right, so let us get into this after, I suppose. Brandon Lesko with a $2 dues says, what? Hawk 2? Spit on that thing, you get me? Oh, I get what you're saying. Yeah, sure. All right, let's continue.
Which, you know, I guess if that's what they want to do, that's what they're going to do. As far as that goes, anyone who wants this thing done and taken care of and expects me to have this thing worked out in some sort of quick fashion, welcome to the legal process and the speed of government. It is not in the hands of us happy, idle citizens. It is in the hands of bureaucrats who actually have never passed up a cheese sandwich and never will.
This is one of Nick's main criticisms of people that don't like him, is that they are fat. He may have given Coke to kids, but at least he's not fat. So just keep that in mind. That's basically the kind of the extent of his defense at the moment, is that there are some very fat and very skinny Canadians that make fun of him.
Take their time on everything and blame you for it. They do. I don't know how.
Well, I mean, blaming you for it, you're the one that brought the Coke into the house and left it around. 5 kids. And when April and Aaron were coming over with their kids, or you were going over to their house, possibly even more, to the extent where you dropped, allegedly, according to Aaron, a cocaine bullet on their couch next to a 3-year-old. This isn't the government doing this. This is Nick doing this. He has to be responsible for these things. He's going to go on to say that, like, the government has no evidence of him doing drugs. And that may be the case. Like, he may have actually passed a drug test without having anything come through. But no one for a second believes that he didn't bring these drugs into his house. It wasn't the EVS theory of the kids that were doing it and they'll bring it in. No, it was him. He was going and buying it. He was the Coke Lord. And of course he was doing it. We know he was doing it on the stream. Now, they may not be able to prove that in a court of law. He may be absolved of all his crimes. And you know what? If he actually gets absolved of all his crimes, he gets away with it. You know, he can't keep getting away with it. If he actually does get away with it, and then but it was a wake-up call and he turns his life around and he's true and honest about being drug-free now and he's trying to work to get his kids back, that's great. That's what everyone actually wants to see. I know some people say that he should go away. I don't think so. I still think the best result of the situation is for him to get clean and to look after his family and be that family man that he pretended to be, or at least used to be, until he changed over the last 2 years or so. Now, is that going to happen? It's pretty unlikely. People recover from these situations like 1 time out of 10. It's not impossible, but I think it is the best answer. The good end to this story would be getting the family back together. But to do that, he doesn't have to make an internet apology. He does have to apologize to the people in his life. Although some people want him to apologize to the internet. I don't think that's going to work. I don't think it's going to work. But he has to get April out of the situation. This throuple, like, threesome thing doesn't work. Swinging doesn't work with kids. If you want to be a single person or, you know, a dink or whatever, you know, dual income, no kids sort of thing, whatever, that's fine. Go do as much shit as you want. Things change when you have children. And you have to put them first, not put your, I guess, kind of yesteryear wishes of being a celebrity because you got married too early or something. You got to just put the kids first until they're 18. Yeah, that's going to take like another 12 years, but then you can have your fun. Or at least go and do these in a hotel and don't bring her into the house. You know, get like a babysitter or something. Like, just do it outside of the house. Because kids will get into things. Kids are very interested in finding out what their parents are into because that's how they learn about the world. And they are a lot smarter than you give them credit for. They are going to find their ways into the safe. They are going to find their ways into the secret, like the secret room with all the goodies and nose candy and everything. They're going to find it. Just don't. The only way to get away with this is just to keep it out of the house. Jail with 5,001 says, it's so sad that everything is a grift for him. I thought it was a fucking meme. Man's a scumbag. Roleplay as a Christian. What's your thoughts on all of this? I think he used to be. I think he used to actually be, honestly, the man that he was on stream. But perhaps he never had the ability or the resources or the clout to act on these sort of deep down fantasies. I think if you were watching his stream for like several years ago, I think he was that sort of guy that was there for his family and everything. But I think it all changed around I want to say the end of the Rittenhouse. Like he got burnt out and he went to Jamaica. I think that's where it started, I think, honestly. But you never know. He could have had these tendencies or these behaviors since the very beginning. I like to believe that he used to be how he was presented, and it just this change that happened, because it's a lot easier to believe that, I think. And you can call that me coping if you want. That's fine. But that's what I think is the situation. And also, Anime, thank you very much for the support tonight. Says kids are gonna exactly, yeah. All right, let us continue, shall we?
How else to say it? You're going to have to, at some point, encounter government in some way, and I pray to God it's not in the way that I've had to. People are saying that I'm making statements like this as some sort of conspiracy sort of accusation, or saying that there is some sort of plot against me or whatever. I mean, I have no fucking idea.
He literally said this. He literally said this on his last stream. This is just straight up gaslighting. And I hate to use a word like that because it's kind of cringe, right? But it's gaslighting. He said that the government, in the form of the social workers, were lying about his case. He said that people were releasing these documents just to get him. That's a conspiracy, and it's from the government. That makes it a government conspiracy. So he's kind of correcting, like he was saying this on his very last stream, and now he's like saying, well, I never said it was a conspiracy. I never said the government was out to get me. What is he talking about? Of course he did. This is just ridiculous. You have to be an actual grade A moron to think that he's telling the truth here. Like, does anyone else, like, surely you guys see this, right? It's complete, like, he says it with such confidence that his chat seems to just think it's true.
I haven't ever claimed that. Other people.
Yes, you did. Yesterday or 2 days ago. Maybe, I think it was 2 days ago. 2 days ago, right? He literally claimed that. Like, I think, like, if someone wants to do this, like, like some clip channel or anything, I think it'd be very funny to put this clip in particular where he says, like, I never say these things, right next to exactly when he says these things. I don't know if he actually believes this himself or is just... The thing is, if you just lie to people, 50% of people are going to believe it, at least. And it's working for him. People are like saying, like, we're here for you, Nick. We trust you, Nick. We believe you, Nick. Thank you for telling me how to defend you on Reddit, bro. Like, what the fuck?
Have suggested shit like that. Go talk to them about those theories. As for me and my...
He's kind of inferring that Barnes is like, it was all Barnes all along here, which is kind of rude to throw him under the bus since he's one of the people still in the Baldo bunker.
My claims, they're very, very simple. I have constitutional rights. I stand accused by my government of acts to which I have not admitted.
And by the way, I do think that Nick deserves his day in court. He absolutely does. I think we all know that he has done what we think he's done. But I'm not a lawyer. This is not a law channel. Like, unironically. I do talk about law topics fairly frequently recently, though. And probably some more. I'm supposed to do the Koberger trial, but I'm not sure when they're doing that. But yeah, this is not the court of Minnesota on my channel. This is the court of public opinion. And we know you did the drugs. We saw you do it on stream. We know you were getting fucked up in the early hours of the morning and then going driving because you said these things. You told us these things. We saw you do these things. Pounding down like entire bottles of whiskey on the daily. And then driving your kids to school. There's no way you could sober up in time for that. I'm sorry. You can't. And like the government found the cocaine. Did they plant it there? What's the alternative? What's like, so is it either it's a government conspiracy or you're admitting to everything? Which is it? How did the cocaine get in the house if it's not a government conspiracy or you just did it? Because you're going to go on to claim that you never did these things. It's insane.
Government bears the burden of proving those acts beyond a reasonable doubt in the criminal matter, and a slightly lower but still high standard in the ongoing civil matter. Until they do those things, people will make up the decisions about me and any actions, alleged or unalleged, that they want under the circumstances. There's nothing I can do to prevent it. There's very little I can even do to address it. I started to say this the other night, but I will say it again because it bears repeating. The government has the unfettered ability to accuse the citizen. The citizen does not have an unfettered ability to respond to government. Though we have freedom of speech, everything we say that we are free to say can be used against you once you stand accused. Actually, technically before you stand accused, but certainly once you do. And with that realization, it means that anything the government says about you may have to go unanswered for an extended period of time. But there are answers that I can give to questions that people have that are very generic about my case.
All right, so this should be good. And we're going to compare what he says with the original document that was leaked just before his stream. Because I'm going to do a bit of fact checking tonight. That's kind of what I really wanted to go through mainly.
And so I can clear up some common misconceptions here.
Okay, this should be interesting. It's very illuminating, I'm sure.
Anyone who suggests that I ever have refused an ordered drug test from the government is incorrect. I've complied with every ordered drug test from the government.
Okay. So the first claim here is saying that people are lying about him, that he refused a drug test. This is very weaselly and snaky when you actually look at the details. So what happened is he didn't refuse a drug test. No. The exhibits were, in this case, well, this is the document with the child, the 9-year-old. On her birthday is when they took them in, by the way. And tested positive for 10 times what they were looking for cocaine in her hair test. So they had the drug testing of the parents. So this is like his statement is actually true. He did submit to a drug test. However, he refused the right, not the right, I suppose, but he removed the ability of the Child Protective Services from seeing the results of this drug test, which was one of the factors for him getting his children back. So when people say he's refusing a drug test, that's not what's happening. He's taking drug tests, but he's refusing to give the information to the people that have the power to put him back with his children. It's a very sneaky way. It's a very lawyerly way to do things. And I know he's always said that lawyers are bad people, but I assume some are good people. But you have to be careful in the details here. And he does it a lot. He does it a lot. He finds a way to change the story to just strawman what people are saying. And then he's like, well, you guys are wrong here. So surely you have no idea what you're talking about. Just be very careful when you're listening to him say these things. Because I guess he's technically correct. The best kind of correct, right? He didn't refuse any drug tests, but he did refuse to show them to the CHIPS officer or their team. That would, one of the criteria for him to get the kids back. I think it goes on to say later in this document, we looked through this document last time, so I don't want to go back over it again. But it says in what part of these details here. Let me see. That was on June 6th. All right. So this is the criteria, the order. The children shall remain in the protective care of the Kandioha County Health Services for the purpose of placement with the appropriate licensed foster care provider. The following shall be provided to kids. That was all the things that they would get. The parents shall submit to chemical drug testing of any type at the request of the health services or the guardian ad litem. So again, these are the criteria. They also want to see inside his house. Now, he claims that he said that they could come around and see it, but I might check that later. Kandiohi? I'm not sure. I'll just call it the government or the health services. Bear Lamb says he also confessed his cocaine use in Jamaica on his holidays. This is when I knew he was a cokehead and he was going to prison guaranteed. I don't think he's going to do prison time. Maybe that's just because I don't want to lose my $20 saying that he's not going to go to prison. I don't think he's going to go to prison for this. Although with the results of this 9-year-old hair follicle sample, it's looking a lot worse. Again, he is like the father. He's the father, the sole provider. It seems unlikely. It's a non-violent crime. If they get the hair tests from the child thrown out, like if they find there's some sort of loophole, like it was improperly tested or they weren't allowed to do the permission, so it has to be removed from evidence, then I see him just getting away with a very light sentence for this. But we'll have to wait and see, because there's obviously more details in the case we haven't seen yet, and the details just keep getting worse and worse. If another one of the bombshell like this comes out, like when the body cam footage comes out, it's going to be a hard sell to say that he's not going to do some serious punishment for this. I typically think he's going to get a diversion, but we'll have to wait and see.
And yes, that means I have actually taken drug tests and submitted them to the government. I know it's wild to consider, but that has happened. So any reports that I'm not doing that are flat out false. I don't care what insider sources people have. I don't care what other suggestions there are, but any suggestion that I am not doing that, like I'm adamantly refusing a court-ordered drug test, are completely incorrect.
That's true. That is correct, because you're not refusing the court-ordered drug test. You're doing those. You're just not showing those drug test results to the people that have your children right now.
Shockingly, they're all clean. I know, it's really hard to believe.
Now, this is a very interesting statement that Nick has made. Hasn't made prior. He said all of his drug tests are clean. Let's think about this for a second. Is it possible that he could have passed a clean drug test? I think it was a couple days after he had his coke stream that he was arrested. So it's not impossible. It's not impossible that the drug test that he submitted to after that event came back clean. I think that the piss tests, they can be clean after like 48 hours or something. It seems unlikely though. It seems really unlikely. So either he's completely delusional, or he's completely confident that he's going to be able to have all the tests thrown out. And if the tests are all thrown out, then in the eyes of the law, they never happened and he was never on drugs. And the live streams, while they are very incriminating for the public court of opinion, they're not going to be that solid in a court of law, because maybe he was acting, maybe it was just alcohol, maybe it was just, who can say? There's a lot of dispersions that you could throw on that. Like, it's entirely possible that could be thrown out. I find it unlikely, though. I find it very unlikely that he was actually passing these clean drug tests. So I'm curious why he would say this, because they found the coke, 28 grams. Was he just did he just like to run it through his fingers? Was it just like an art, like an art piece or something? Like, how do you explain the coke then? And maybe he doesn't have to in the court of law. If he gets it thrown out, sure, it happens all the time. But we know he did it. This is outrageous. Maybe he's just saying this because it puts up, maybe he's like, I was thinking that perhaps he was trying to get some information out there on his side to say that he didn't do nothing, because he lives in a very small county. And it's very likely that the potential jury pool for his case could be watching his show. So coming out and saying that he's like, well, I didn't do nothing. All of my drug tests came back clean. What a statement. And how do we take this statement now that if his drug test came clean, then how did his kids' one not come clean? It's outrageous. So let me know what you think in the chat. David Chandler says, I experienced this from the comedy world's perspective, through April and Aaron and their friends. Aaron can be an ass, but I have no doubt he's telling the truth about Nick now. I think there's a lot of half-truths that Aaron's telling, but he has no motivation really to just make these flat-out lies, because he looks like shit in these stories. Like, I know he's kind of sold the narrative that he was a bad man, but he was doing the best he could, and he got out when he did. Aaron did a lot of bad shit. But to say, like, to go on record and expose himself as a cuckold, essentially, is crazy. It's just crazy. So, yeah, I do believe that a lot of what Aaron is saying is true. But I think you have to take him with a grain of salt. He's going to obviously gild the lily a little bit and try and make himself look better, try and make Nick look worse. I'm not sure if the things that he's saying about Kayla are true. Like, it seems like he's saying those to get on Nick's side, right? To, like, kind of piss Nick off. But who can say? Who can say? We may find out as this goes on.
but they're all clean.
What a statement.
I don't know
All
what
of the
to
drug
tell
tests
you.
are clean.
I don't know how to say it any other way. But
And here's the other thing, is if the drug tests are clean, why doesn't he release them? Now, I know there's probably like a Baldo bunker staffer or something saying, well, Nick can't release any information about his case. How does a clean drug test in any way could be used to show that you're to make your case worse? Surely it's either a neutral or positive result in your case. He has the drug tests. He has a copy of the drug tests. Why doesn't he just show them? How could this possibly make his case look worse? I really would like. I'm really curious. Is there any way? Is there any way you could tell? You could twist a clean drug test into saying that he's a bad person? How? Like how? Why did he refuse to show this to the county health people that have his children? Why does he he doesn't have to show the internet, it's embarrassing, he doesn't have to show. Why wouldn't he just show the county people then? Come on, you don't show your cards, take it up to the hearing. This isn't a clean drug test isn't a bombshell thing that is going to just absolve him immediately. It's going to be a clean drug test is going to be effective in the court as it is right now. Maybe it's a false negative. The chances of the drug test being a false negative, very unlikely. Specifically, the cocaine tests in the hair follicles is very effective testing. And if they did get such an outrageous test result, like from a 9-year-old child, surely they would test again. The kids have a lot of hair. They can do a lot of tests. Some people have suggested that the best case scenario was that the kids weren't ingesting cocaine. Well, the child wasn't ingesting cocaine. It was just sprinkled on top, like Salt Bae sprinkling some cocaine on his favorite 9-year-old or something. No, that's not how they work. The hair test, they clean the hair follicles. They basically vaporize the segments of the hair, and then they search for these. I'm not sure the exact terminology. It's not peptides, but they search for an enzyme in the hairs that has reacted to being ingesting cocaine. So the idea that the only way this test could be wrong is if it was Kayla's hair or it was April's hair and they mixed up maybe the kids' hairs look similar, maybe they mixed up. That's the only way I could think of this test being inaccurate. But then again, just test again. It's such a crazy result that they would have to do this again. Metabolites, is that what they're called? Metabolites? There you go. So no, it's either the government's completely lying or this test is it was like a mix-up one. But then why wouldn't Nick just come out and say it was a mix-up? My kid did not have cocaine in the system or something. He doesn't say that in the stream, by the way. He never says, I never done cocaine. He never says my kids didn't have cocaine. He says my tests were clean. And then he doesn't show the tests. So, judge for yourself.
The government has a problem in my case, and that is that they cannot show any evidence of drug use.
So again, notice the wording here. He's not saying he didn't do drugs. He's saying the government cannot show that I did drugs. So I would assume what his train of thought here is that I had a bad drug result test, but it's not going to be admissible because it's going to be thrown out as unconstitutional. And if that's the case, the government does have a problem because they're going to have to find a new way to test him. And if he just never submits to any tests or he doesn't release any tests, even though he said that he submitted to them, I'm not sure. He's going to say that he submitted to these tests under duress or something. I have no idea. But if he has, maybe it's just straight up Cope from Barnes, conspiracy government theory, it's they're taking away his constitutional rights or something. I have no idea. But this is a wild statement to make, that the government can't prove he did any drugs and that all of his tests came back clean. I'm really wondering why he's making this statement. Unless this statement is purely for his audience. Maybe he's just decided that he's just going to go on with his streaming and he just needs to correct his public persona now. He shouldn't be saying anything. Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. on that part, at least.
And you'll find it absent in any of the documents. That's on the government. If they decide they need to show that, then they will attempt to show it. You guys know what I stand accused of. You guys can go look it up. If you do not know, I'm not going to rehash it here. So far, I am not guilty. If the government decides that they can prove that beyond a reasonable doubt, that remains to be seen. But there's a long way to go in that process.
Well, I mean, the first hearing is in August, so it's not that long away. August is going to be lit. We've got the Rings of Power Season 2 coming out and the Rekieta trial. And I don't know, when is the Koberger one? Does anyone know? I know there's been hearing to the Koberger one, but I want to see the trial. I want to see the court camera trial. I don't want to see these 5-minute hearings and everything. So I want to see what their defense is going to be too. That's going to be an interesting one. He said he's going to rehab. No, he didn't. He didn't say he's going to rehab. He said that he did. He submitted to all testings. He's not going to show you the test though. You just have to take his word for it. Dude, trust him. And that the government can't. He said the government can't prove he was on drugs. And that he said that the test came back clean, which is a very unlikely. I'm really like, what is your theory? I'm really curious. What is the chat's theory here? Is this just for the audience, or does he actually believe this? There's no way. There's no way.
The status of my case is very simply as follows. The next criminal hearing that I have.
Hey, look at that. AM in Nick's chat saying, my tests are clean, but I won't show you the test. Great minds think alike, even though he is from South America.
Is on August 21st. This is public information. It's pretty easy to find. That August 21st hearing is called a contested omnibus, and that is a Rule 11 hearing in Minnesota, which means it is your chance to bring any dispositive pretrial motions. Dispositive pretrial motions means the resolution of the motion could resolve the entire case.
Is this what he's banking on? Is he just hoping to get like a Hail Mary, government abuse my rights, and so all evidence is thrown out, so it's just a do-over, just give me my kids and we'll just call it even, government? Is that what he's hoping for? That's what it sounds like. It sounds like he's pinning everything on that. What's funny though is in Next Chat, there are people saying, like, supporting him and saying, like, I can't wait till you can talk about this, bro. He's never going to talk about it. Like, he's like, when this is all said and done, let's say we get the good ending when Nick gets his life back on track and he gets the kids back and he doesn't do drugs again. He's never going to talk about this. He'll say it's over now. He'll say, like, what he says now is, look, I want to talk about it. I can't talk about it now, but when it's over, we'll talk about it. But when it's over, he's going to say, look, guys, it's over, and I just want to put it behind me. We're not going to talk about it. And that's how it's going to be. It's a big fucking grift. You got grifted from the beginning. Of course. That's what they always do. That's what people always do. They say, look, I'll talk about it when I can talk about it. But then when time's up, no, we can't talk about it anymore. It's a sealed case, guys. Sealed case. Can't talk about my thing.
Be dispositive, right? So if you have a motion to dismiss, for example, and you win the motion to dismiss, the case would be over. That would be a dispositive motion. That's the limit for them outside of very, very limited other circumstances. That will be on August 21st. Most people's questions about my criminal case, questions that they have for me, what are you going to do about this? What about this? What about this? Those things will be addressed largely at that hearing. That's what it's for. We will be filing paperwork ahead of that hearing if there's anything that needs to be addressed. And if it is not resolved at that hearing.
Oh, look at this person in Nick's chat. Disappointed in legal mindset who would not exist without Rekieta. Oh, that rat. Legal mindset. Oh, man. It's so, this is just like, let's be honest, this is team sports for most people in the chat. It's team sports. And now there's like a different team. Like you've got like the Sean and the legal mindset and the Kino Casino team. And they're the bad people. They're the traitor rats. Like, are these people thinking that this man that they're supporting, if the court documents are to be believed, gave his kids coke, or at least had it in such a way in his house that it was able for them to access it? Now, there has been some theories, like Camelot put forth, that Nick talked a lot about the medicinal uses of cocaine. And the kid that was tested positive, only 1 out of 5 tested positive for it, the 9-year-old, is the child that Nick refers to as his favorite child, who has a bit of ADHD, maybe some narcolepsy like Nick himself. Nick's favorite child because he identifies the most with this child. So Camelot has put forth a theory that perhaps Nick was giving, self-medicating, like do-it-yourself Ritalin at home or something. I really don't want to believe that theory, but it may be one of the only explanations for why the test results came back with levels that were consistent with daily use or at least weekly use of cocaine. Because they were searching for, I guess, these metabolites. They were looking for up to 500, which would suggest, like you used it once in the last 3 months. But they found levels of 5,000, 10 times what they're looking for, which is consistent with recreational daily/weekend use. That's a lot. That's a lot of coke. It doesn't make sense for the kid to have 1 exposure, is what those would suggest. She also has night terrors and behavioral issues. It's not a good thing. He implied that. He absolutely said that Nick has talked about the medicinal benefits of cocaine quite often, and then he said that he's heard the theory that maybe it was like a self-medication thing, but he did not say himself that Nick was saying that he was giving to the kids for that reason. But he did bring up that theory in his stream about Nick, basically the It's Over stream, where he's kind of decided to stop being a Baldo washer, or at least that's what it's implying. There was actually kind of an interesting thing as well, like a lot of people, when the documents about the kids came out, were starting to rescind their offers of help. So actually, just 7 hours ago, Nick tweeted. There was this tweet by DUI guy, Larry. He says, I'm officially rescinding my offer to help Nick pro bono. So when Nick got first arrested, Larry said that he was going to help him for free, but then he was like, oh shit, this actually is not so great. I'm going to rescind my offer. And then Nick responded to this saying, weird post of the day 2 days ago. I wish you the best, Larry. So looks like he's a little bit upset. With that post. Let us continue with this one.
It will go on to be calendared for trial. When will that be? I have no idea. That's on the court, in the court's calendar. How long of a trial the state thinks? How long the state thinks the trial will take? Questions that they have for me. What are you going to do about this? What about this? What about this? Those things.
That was a weird little thing. It's like it reloaded. I wonder if there was just an edit they went through. It may just be that my internet went out for a second. But typically when you see like a video reload like that, that's when someone makes it their own personal edit to the video. It seems like the front of the video is still there though. So I was wondering if he was going to use the YouTube Studio Editor to move out the hot mic part. I wonder. Maybe we'll check back at the end of this.
Be addressed largely at that hearing. That's what it's for. We will be filing paperwork ahead of that hearing if there's anything that needs to be addressed. And if it is not resolved at that hearing, it will go on to be calendared for trial. When will that be? I have no idea. That's on the court, in the court's calendar. How long of a trial the state thinks, how long the state thinks the trial will take, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We are many steps from that spot. People want that spot to be done. They want it to be occupied. They want some sort of ownership or explanation or whatever, and you're just never going to get it prior to that.
You're never going to get it. I believe that for sure. Amateur Ant says more people need to be going after Kayla for being a complete 304. Damn. And not taking care of her kids as well as Nick. I don't like going in on Kayla because I don't know anything about her, and I don't like talking about strangers, essentially. I mean, Nick's a stranger too, but I know more about him than I do Kayla. All I know about Kayla is that she watches a lot of Star Trek, and apparently she does nothing around the house, which seems very strange to me. Like, she doesn't have a job. I guess she homeschools the kids, is what I thought, but I don't know. It is a big question, though. What was she doing in all of this? How much work she gets done. Because it seems like every time Nick talked about her, she just said, like, she's upstairs watching Star Trek again. The only time I've ever seen her is when she was shilling some CBD oil on Nick's show, which is like a really weird episode. So I guess she likes getting high and watching Star Trek. I mean, watching Star Trek's fine and everything, but absolutely, she's the wife in the situation. She's 50% responsible for these kids. They're her children. What was she doing? That's a good question, but I don't know enough about Kayla to really to slag her off, I guess.
Because I cannot talk about that stuff in my own interest and in the interest of my children, my family, everything. This all has to be done properly. So to all of you who have those wonderful, very concerned questions, I have to tell you, you'll just have to wait and watch the show unfold. Like I said, there are general things that I can talk to you about, sure. Simple matters of fact. And there are actually simple matters of misrepresented facts in the documents that you guys have read.
Okay.
Some of those I can certainly address.
So misrepresented. In your last show, you were saying that the government was lying, that Alicia Sweeps was a complete liar and misrepresenting the facts of the matter. So are you going to tell us what was misrepresented, I wonder?
Did in regards to any drug testing, et cetera, et cetera. Any suggestion that I refused a drug test is
we went back and wait, where were we? We went back and let's see what
erroneous. I was not required to take any drug test by the government up until a certain point.
Wait, what? Hold on, let me re-listen to that.
Suggestion that I refused a drug test is erroneous. I was not required to take any drug test by the government up until a certain point.
What does that mean? I was not required to take a drug test until I was required to take a drug test? What does he mean by this? I wasn't required to take a drug test until they brought me into the jail? Wait, what?
Once that was ordered, which I believe was on June 7th.
So you were required to take it. You just lied. You just lied straight up within the same sentence. Why is he talking? So Hella asks, excited utterance. Why is he talking about his case? I think that he believes that he can get in front of the narrative and he can fix everything. The reason people talk to the cops is they think that they can talk their way out of the situation, but you can't. That's why it's a good advice to not talk to the cops. I think that even though he knows this to be the case, he still thinks he can do it. He's definitely a main character who's smarter than everybody and can use his legal acumen to get away with everything. I was going to say get away with murder, but it's not quite that serious yet, at least. That would be my theory, though, is that he thinks he can talk his way out of this, or he's trying to preserve his audience and his income. Now, his first stream back on YouTube, with all the deleted super chats, he did make $1,500. So there is still a little bit. Actually, when I was going to look at that, if you look at his playboard, this is the best thing that's happened to his career in a long time. If you look at streams from a long time ago, well, from several weeks ago, I should say, he was making $200, $200, $30, $30, $90. Big one. I'm talking about Trump. $500, $80, $20, $100, $72. Then he comes back and he does his first stream back. He makes $1,500. So the results of my PLN, this is the Coke stream. He made $300 on that. So that was a big night for him. He used to make thousands every night. His first stream back, where it's like the one where the docs would drop just an hour before he went, he made $1,500. And on tonight's stream, he made $500. So maybe he may have extended the goodwill of the audience on that first stream back. It'd be interesting to see the next following streams, but he's still making quite a lot. And a lot of these are troll chats as well, which is kind of silly, but it is the way it is.
I've complied with all of them. The government had no right to ask me or demand me or order me to take a drug test. Prior to that,
what is he like? So you find Coke in somebody's house. The children are hungry and dirty. The house is a den of degeneracy, clothes, allegedly. I guess we'll see in the body cam footage comes out, right? At what point does the government have the right to order a drug test when your children are complaining they're hungry and you find out that the children have Coke in their hair? I don't like the government. The government needs to get out. But there are times it does good work. And you know what? When kids are being exposed to cocaine, I think that the government does have the right to test you for a drug test. That seems pretty reasonable to me, in fact. But I mean, they found what 28 grams, maybe 26 without the packaging. You know, who knows? Who knows? Again, he is not charged with felony using. Wasn't the... I'm not sure what the actual charges were at this. Wasn't charges felony drug charges with firearms? So he was charged with the felony, I'm pretty sure. Now, they may have changed. They may have changed what they're going to serve him with, I guess. I don't know. Maybe the government's still building their case. We don't know. They've got till the August 21st, right, to find out what it is. Here, the charge is possession. I'm not sure if it'll change before then, though. There's like still another Regis super chat. Let's see. Did I miss one? Oh, I did miss one. All right. So John says with a $5. Thank you very much. Big support of the show. Says he shouldn't speak about his case at all before, during, or after it can be used against him. Even after the trial, he can be retried with new evidence. Good. Then the advice that the Lordship was giving him, the traitor rats, to not talk was great advice then. Why doesn't he take it? Why doesn't he take the advice? Let's continue.
And I did not
very true. Very true.
refuse to take anything that they requested. So that being said, I hope that clears that up. I know
it doesn't clear up anything. It just adds more questions. First of all, the hot mic poses the question, why is April still in the house? If you want to get your kids back, having a strange woman who is not your wife living with the family as like the throuple sex toy girl or whatever, that's not great. Strangers in the house are usually the most dangerous to children. Because like children victims, the ones that are like touching them and shit, are usually people like the mother or the father brings into the house. So it's not like, get rid of her. And I'm like 99% sure this is April, because why would you... First of all, Aaron confirms that it was April when it was asked him of this question. Second of all, if it wasn't another woman in the house, why would he say, go ask so-and-so? It has to be April. Who else could it be? Unless he's picked up a new chick. It's still pretty funny, though, like when you think about it, like, hey, honey, have you seen my ethics complaints? Like, imagine. Never mind.
Won't. And I know what you're saying. You're saying, wow, in the order, it said this. Well, that's funny. And it's a funny aspect of how cases work. Because you see, one side, again, the government gets to say whatever it wants. The other side has maybe an opportunity to respond. That would be me. I would have an opportunity to respond to the government saying something so ludicrous. However, that response might require testimony, and that testimony might be problematic under the circumstances. In that testimony in one area could be used in another area, and it would open doors that aren't ready to be opened at this time.
So he's essentially saying, I'm going to get away with a technicality. Not that he didn't do it. Not that he's innocent. Not that he's a good man. He's saying, you know what? Government's going to have a bit of a tricky time here because I'm going to be a bit of a cunt. I mean, and that's what he should do, honestly. He should make it as difficult as possible for the government. It is an adversarial system. But doesn't the audience realize this? Right? Amateur Ant with a $5. Thank you very much. He says, he only passed the drug test because he was sniffing the coca from Kayla's snatch. I thought it was from the judges, wasn't it? Wasn't that the dream? The judge that got removed from the case, which is a good move, honestly, in my opinion. So it was diluted. I think you mean diluted, not diluted. Diluted, I believe. But yes, maybe. That's pretty gross, though. I don't want to think about that. And Brandon Lesko says, what if Kayla thought the little one was getting a little chunky and put her on a low-cal, high Coca-Cola diet to help her self-esteem? Jesus Christ. That's dark. Holy shit. That's another like, people keep saying that Nick's looking better and he's putting on weight and shit. And it's like, he's like, yeah, now that I'm not sick anymore, I can eat food. It's great. I can gain weight again, just like I wanted. It's like, well, he stopped doing the coke, allegedly. Of course he's going to start gaining weight. I don't know. It's all a bit too coincidence, right?
Or it could simply be that the government made a mistake or they mischaracterized something. And that can be an honest mistake rather than a malicious one. And what you'll find very frequently with government is that most of the mistakes are rather honest. The problem with
But this isn't what you said. You said the government was lying 2 days ago. You said, Alicia Sweep, you are lying about my case. Now, you know, you never attribute to malice or could equally be attributed to stupidity. I agree with that. But you came out with a very firm, very conclusive statement. The government is lying and is working against you because of people in your community, because I guess, I don't know, he's gonna, it's all Joe Biden's plan or something. Who can say? I think he's trying to taint the Cheery stream. I mean, that is one theory that I've heard, that because he's such a local celebrity, essentially, because it's a small town. It's a very small town. And this was Minnesota state news. It's even made it. This is being reported in Australia. Like, Australian news is reporting on Nick's story, mostly because he told everyone to go fuck themselves and to off themselves after people saw what he was doing. Like, Dextero had a link, had a page on him today, I think, or something as well, saying like, YouTube streamer responds to statements would basically kill yourself. So it is very likely that the entire community is following this, watching the case, and you know, since he's such a public person and by nature of being a YouTuber, there's no way he can hide the things that he's saying. So it's definitely a possibility. I have thought about that as well, because these statements are just so outrageous. Felt it around the globe. Yeah, kind of. That is true, though. There's nothing much happens in Australia. Australia is just a pretty chill place, where New Zealand too. Like, all of New Zealand and Australia's news is just about what other countries are doing. And then there's like, oh, we had a sheep got loose this week. Pretty big deal, guys. That is true. But I mean, if that's your biggest problem, sheep escaping, you probably live a pretty good life.
Is not in their malice. Of course, a malicious government going after you would be tyranny. I have not claimed this to be the case.
Yes, you have. You literally have claimed this 2 days ago. It's not tyranny. I've never claimed this, but if they are, it is, and I did claim it. What? Parallax had a good comment here. Hold on a second. Where did it go? Did I miss it? Shit, where did it go? Well, he said, I can't find it in the chat tonight. Sorry, it got away from me. But he was saying that, oh, here it is. I have been told the locals are following this as much as the farms. That makes sense, because the documents that he was so angry that they were released, my understanding is that these are public documents that are accessible by anyone in Minnesota who goes to the courthouse. Now, it is illegal to print them off. It is illegal to disseminate these documents, but they are publicly available. So obviously there is some local person who is so invested in this case that they felt that the world needed to know this like little detail. And they posed the question is, what else don't we know about this case? Is this going to be the final bombshell, or is it going to get worse? We haven't seen the body cam footage. We haven't seen the photos from the house. That could be incredibly damning. It could actually vindicate him as well, but he has chosen to not consent to the release of that. Now, consenting to the release of that doesn't change his case in any shape or form, because the government obviously already has its details. The only thing that changes is the public perception. Now, since he doesn't want to release it, we can only assume it's bad. Now, it being bad doesn't necessarily mean guilty bad, because a lot of people have shit in their homes, which looks pretty bad when you look at it, right? Like, it's embarrassing. Everyone's got their own, like, weird shit in their homes. And maybe seeing that would not be good for his case, not be good for the public, I guess, perception of it. But it's going to come out on the trial. It's going to come out in the courtroom, unless I guess he can say it's admissible because it was unconstitutional. So it is going to come out as well, because people have the money's been raised. It's only a matter of time. So is he just trying to keep it delayed for as long as possible to try and get as many people onto his side? Because once people make up their mind about something, it's very difficult to change it. That may be the thing, is just trying to galvanize the last of his supporters into being in the bunker forever before they take I guess the copium pills when the body cam comes out. I don't know. It's a mystery. MLS, making it a little simple, says, can we go back to listen to the under the desk audio from the bad stream? If there is a hooked in there, the jury lets him walk 100%. So when I reviewed, so what he's talking about here is that in the stream just before he got arrested, the Coke stream, if you play back the audio of when he's doing his allegedly pretend DSP impersonation, when I went back and enhanced the audio myself, I heard something that sounded an awful lot like a sloppy toppy. That's what I heard. That's what my ears told me, but I didn't want to believe it. Now, when you enhance audio, sometimes innocuous things sound different. You know, it could be a weird audio artifact. But I'm saying is if you go back to that stream, enhance the audio yourself. You can do it with, you can download Audacity for free, which is a free audio editing system. It's really good, actually. If you ever make YouTube videos, it's good to use Audacity. Put it through, put some bass, you know, some bit of oomph into your voice, sort of thing. Clean up the audio. It's really good, actually, to do. Because audio is the best thing for streams and for videos. But you can go through yourself and see it, to see that it has been unadulterated. And you hear what sounds like slurping sounds. I won't play it this stream, but it definitely sounds pretty bad.
I've specifically stated that the system is levied against the citizen in a way that makes you feel oppressed, because it does. It is a grinding system that crushes you into nothing. The imbalance of power between an individual citizen, even one representative.
What's with the pickles in the chat? Like, I have pickles in my own chat. If you join as a YouTube member, you can use the bent pickle from the Chris Chen saga. It also gives you the Sonotube medallion. I guess a quick shill for my stuff. If you be so kind as hit the like button, maybe subscribe if you feel so inclined. It does help out a lot. Looks like we have 200 likes. Come on, if we can get this over 400 likes, that's when YouTube kind of pushes out your stream to the mainstream audience. If you want more people to know about this story, hit that like button or the dislike button, but hit a button. That's all I'm saying. Hit a dislike, hit a like, say hi in chat. That's all I ask, you know. And if you feel so inclined, join as a channel member, get your access to the private Discord where you can post all your spicy memes and, you know, call other people retarded. It's a lot of fun. Basically unmoderated Discord. Just no illegal shit.
By a badass attorney or whatever the hell you want to say versus a government is astronomical. And it's why we put higher burdens on the government. We can wax poetic all day about just how effective those burdens are and how effectively they're adhered to in the actual judicial process. There's a long fucking conversation to have there, and it existed long before my case, and it'll exist long after my case. The balance of power in government restrictions that can only be enforced on the government by itself has always been a logical problem with governance. If the only police of the police is the police, how effective are they at policing themselves?
This is okay. Not a great pause, but let's so again, he's implying that the government is colluding, conspirating against himself. Now, he has said that he does not want to make the court open for his case, even though he has triumphed or trumpeted this idea before that all cases should be open and live streamed so that we can check for government conspiracies and misuse, because you don't want to be like those English nonces who, you know, King of England is like manipulating your case or some shit, you know, the Starham, I think he was saying it. And then he's saying, but no, I don't want it in my case because it's not for checking out if I'm being bad. It's for checking out the government's being bad. How can we check if the government's being naughty unless you show us? So why not sign the list of lawyers that have submitted affidavits saying that this case is a matter of public interest and they want it to be open to the public? Make all the documents public, make all the live streams, make the court live stream public. That's, if the government's being bad, how can we tell unless you show us? But no, the government's being bad, but also you can't see the government being bad because why? Ask yourself that question if you're still in the bunker.
Our founders tried to recognize this and set up branches.
Well, I guess very, very true. Ethan Ralph says, Joe Biden has it out for Nick and let the cops plant the coke on the kids. It's true. I love seeing my little parody Ralph account. I wish it was the real Ralph, but, you You know, it's a good, or maybe it is. Who can say? Who can say? And amateur Anth with another $5 says, thank you very much, by the way. Aaron is mad that he became the third/fourth wheel in this drug-fueled degeneracy. He thought Kayla loved him as much as April loved Coke. That's unfortunate. Seems he is on the outs. There was also a theory that like Nick was sending texts pretending to be Kayla, which was basically pleading with Aaron not to go on the Kino Casino when he started making his grand tour. And it's like, I thought you loved me. Don't share these messages. But the way it's written is kind of strange. And people have suggested it's the way that a writing major would write with the double space after the period. I don't know. That's a little bit of, maybe that's a bit too much conspiracy theory for me. I'm sure Nick probably had a hand in saying, please send this message to Aaron asking you. But to that Nick is writing it himself, I don't know about that. I mean, it wouldn't be beyond belief, I suppose, with all the crazy things that have come out. But who can say?
Of government, both laterally, horizontally, I guess, vertically and horizontally. That's the Republican form of our multi-house government, right? You have the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judicial branch. That's your horizontal plane. Your vertical plane would be the federal government, state governments, county governments, municipal governments, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, down into the smallest, which would be, I guess, the individual themselves. All of those levels of government interact with each other, and all of them have distinct rights and powers. And some of them have rights and powers that check the others. It's a system that's designed to prevent the very concerns that are raised, but it can't be perfect at it.
Like, we're not going to watch the entire stream, by the way. There's like 5 more minutes of this one, but then he goes on. Like, if you want to see the whole stream, you can check it out on his channel. But at one point, he does talk about the Joker a little bit because he paid. The story is he paid $60,000 or like $30,000 to $60,000 in this Joker painting that everyone thinks is a poster, but no, it's a painting. I guess it's signed by the Joker himself. I don't know. There's people who are joking that like Nick signed it as the Joker, but he goes on to talk about how the Joker, like he's literally the Joker basically, and like it like the group of men. You could be Nick if you just had one bad day. Essentially, it's pretty cringe, but it's a bit interesting. If you want to see that in full, you can check it out on his channel.
And so you do run across instances where government agents may misstate something, either maliciously or innocently. And unless there is someone specifically there to raise a challenge and then have their credibility outweigh the government's credibility, you're going to have that mistake enter the record. And it takes a lot to correct that. It also takes good counsel. And people do not always have good counsel. People do not always have counsel at all. And all of these things snowball into this mess that we have of a legal system. And
that's the rumor.
In some ways, it really, really sucks. $60,000. And in other ways, it's still the best one on the entire planet. I don't want to be under the thumb of any legal system, and I would suggest that you probably don't want to either.
I have my own little conspiracy theory about the paintings. So my theory is that his trust fund has like a clause in it where he's got a certain amount of money he can spend on charities or fundraisers or something like that. So let's say his grandparents, who are multimillionaires, hundreds of millions of dollars actually for oil futures or something. They donated an entire hospital wing, in fact. It is very unlikely, well, that Nick does not have a trust fund in some shape or form, but maybe we haven't seen it. But my theory anyway is that there's a certain amount of allowances he can spend of that money. So when he goes to this yearly art auction thing that he does, which he's talked about quite often, my theory is he's spending his grandparents' money on these paintings. It's not impossible. It's not impossible that he is buying with himself, but it just seems outrageous to spend as much as he does on art and have it be his own money. It seems really stupid. Some people have also suggested that it's like some sort of laundering thing. I don't know about that. Although a lot of artwork is for tax evasion and money laundering, but I'm not sure about that. I think he's just spending his grandparents' money to buy these paintings. In fact, I think when he talked about this "I Am Not a Cat" painting, I'm pretty sure he literally was bidding against his mother on this painting, because this came out when there was it was like the Zoom call Kate course hearing he was watching, and one of the lawyers accidentally had a cat filter turned on, and the judge is like, "Are you a cat?" And he's like, "No, I'm not. I'm not a cat, and I'm present." And then the local artist I think all of these paintings are done by the same artist. It's like his rich artist friend that he goes to like the art charity auction every year. His mum said that he was bidding on this painting, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm bidding on it too." So it's kind of funny if they're bidding their actual money against each other. And I don't know. My theory is that it's the grandparents' money for the paintings, but what do you think? What do you think?
But those are the realities that we're faced with when we have government and have to interact with it in a hostile or adversarial way. So that's my little soapbox on the issue. But if you hear me suggest that maybe something in some document is not true, well, there's lots of things that aren't true.
I mean, that's such a tiny burden of proof that maybe something in some document is untrue. I'm sure there is something that in some document is untrue, but did you do it? It's like, well, actually, this document got my daughter's name incorrect. So it's not a factually accurate, verified by Reddit. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, did you give your kids Coke?
There's lots of
Just
things
say you
that get
didn't do
stated
it.
by government specifically that aren't true or aren't correct. Correcting those things takes time, it takes effort, and it takes careful strategy and planning. And just know this, I'm fighting literally every single day when I'm
So someone said it's so crazy, just like sarcastically, oh, a lawyer doing Coke, oh wow, basically. It escaped from my chat feed. I don't have a problem with people doing drugs, honestly. I don't do drugs myself. I like to drink. I like to have a bit of fun, but I don't do drugs. But I don't have a problem with anyone doing drugs themselves. I think that you should probably decriminalize basically all of them. But I do have a problem with people that abuse substances around children. And if you're a father, if you're a mother, if you have responsibilities, if you have people depending on you, then that changes the calculus on drug use. And if you cause those vulnerable people around you to be in danger because of your actions, then you should be held to the full account of the law. Like, what is this like? We don't let people get drunk, then drive, and then when they get arrested for crashing into a school bus, say, well, it was the alcohol, not me. You chose to drink the alcohol. You chose to do the Coke. You're responsible for everything that happens because of that. So yeah, maybe the government overstepped their bounds and they busted down your door. I don't know. Maybe they did. We have to see the body cam to figure that out, maybe. But the only reason they were busting down your door and they found the Coke is because you brought the Coke into the house. That's your choice, not the government's choice.
I'm not on camera, which you'll note is rare these days. I'm fighting behind the scenes for my family and for my own liberty, and consequently for yours as well, because there are liberty issues at play here.
This is like, I hate this thing that he's doing where he's like, I'm being oppressed by the government. You should support me because I'm being oppressed, guys. It could be you one day. I'm standing up for your liberties, chat. It could be you. What? This is just, I know it's effective. The thing is, it's really annoying is it's effective. It really does resonate with a certain group in the chat. They're like sitting on their couches smoking weed or doing crack right now, and they're like, yeah, man, Rekieta's a political prisoner. Those kids, it's natural, man. It comes from the ground. Cocaine comes from a plant. How could it be bad? It appeals to those retards.
And if people take a step back and look at this situation and say, would I want to be in this situation under those circumstances that the government has used? You can make your decision on how you would answer that. I know how
it's also worth noting, I said this last stream as well, but the government can be bad and we can want less government, but Nick can also be bad in the same time. It's not a good versus bad. They can both be antagonistic forces in this case.
I do, but I'm a little biased in the situation, you could understand. So that being said, if I can correct small mistakes made by government or omissions, whether malicious.
How would you rate, so he's correcting the record on this stream. How would you rate him out of 10, out of curiosity, chat? Like 5 or higher, meaning this was a good idea. 10 being with what it's solved, and 1 being, damn it, Nick, we've lost the kids again. How would you rate this from 1 to 10? So 1 to 5, 1 to 4, I suppose, is bad, and 5 to 10 is good. That's how I rate things.
Malicious or incidental is irrelevant to me. If I can correct those things for you guys, I will. If I can't, look, I'm just not going to answer that question. And that's part of it too. And here's what I know about that. And this is my last bit of blabbering about it before we start getting into some topics of choice tonight is this. I 100% realize that court and the court of public opinion are completely different.
True and real.
And I 100% realize that people will judge me absent any of the rules or restrictions that are imposed on government. If I don't say something,
I'm not judging you because of rules set on you by the government. I'm judging you because your daughter came back with 10 times the level of coke that they were looking for. Jesus Christ.
The public will make a judgment about that. And the consequence is that
That's
I
true.
have
I am
to
going to
just
judge him.
deal with it. You're not going to catch me complaining too much.
I mean, he's been coping for the last 18 minutes and for hours previously, and it privately in DMs. And like he goes on to say, I think at some point during the stream, like he's too busy to watch streams about him. He's too busy to follow the Kiwi farms. He literally confirmed that he spends all day on Kiwi farms. Well, multiple times he's actually said this. But when these court documents came out, so the ones with the children drug test ones, when these came out, Null locked the thread, the Rekieta thread on Kiwi farms, so they could have time to verify these documents. And then they posted it in a different thread with the release of them and people talking about that. Nick messaged Null, the owner of the Kiwi farms, immediately and said, "Hey, thank you for locking my thread." If he's not on the Kiwi farms, how would he know that his thread was locked? But he thought that it was doing it he thought that Null had decided to come down and to put the Baldo on or something. It makes no sense. Like, this is the moment that Null decides to put on the Baldo, when these documents about his children come out. But it wasn't that he was locking it for Rekieta's benefit. He was locking it so that they had time to verify these what seemed to be outrageous documents that couldn't possibly be true, even though it's all true, because he confirmed it himself. He confirmed that they're true documents, but that their contents may not be 100% accurate. That's his story anyway. But he comes out straight away. Why? It really doesn't make any sense at all. But it is kind of funny to me, the idea that he's not watching these shows about him or reading his own thread, because he spends all day doing it. Even before the Kiwi farms turned against him, back when they're on his side, he admitted to reading them every day. Every day he was reading his thread, which is a terrible idea.
Now, if people have basic reading issues, I may try and correct them. Or people have basic legal misunderstandings, I may try and correct them. Here's a friendly one to whoever runs the Gunt News Network. You said in your tweet about the order that was released the other day
let's have a look at this.
that neither I nor my wife intervened on behalf of our children. There's a very simple reason why. An intervener is a non-party to the suit who would then step in the place of a party to take over the suit if they had some sort of interest. Taking it out of the context of my case, and I said this earlier on Locals. If you're watching on Locals, I'm sorry, you're probably bored with this. Taking it out of the context of my case and putting it in the context of, say, an election fraud lawsuit like we saw in 2020.
Is he just trying to, is this just the old switcheroo? You remember the election, right? Right? Wink, wink. Well, what about my case? I can't be. Anyway, apparently Gunt News Network responded to this. Let's take a look at that. Let's see. So this is the statement.
To whoever runs the Gunt News Network. You said in your tweet about the order that was released the other day that neither I nor my wife intervened on behalf of our children. There's a very simple reason why. So if you say that we have not intervened on behalf of our children, that would be, I guess, technically correct. To
Note from the editor from Breaking Gunt News Network. Note from the editor, rekietalaw, technically correct, is still correct both in the court of law and in public opinion. Also, you revoked your ROI of your drug test to the county health services, which is why your children remain in foster care. And then he has also linked the part of the document that says, Mr. and Mrs. Rekieta can submit, Mr. and Mrs. Rekieta each submitted a drug follicle hair test through Minnesota Monitoring, Inc. However, County Health Services has not received the results of these tests because subsequent to taking those tests, Mr. Rekieta and Mrs. Rekieta revoked the release of information ROI from the Minnesota Monitoring, Inc. Because the ROIs have been revoked, County Health Services have been unable to monitor the parents through additional drug testing. what's ROI? ROI is release of information. So they've revoked to release the information. So I guess technically, like, this is the thing. Like, he's very sneaky the way he says this. But then if you just like actually listen to what he says, he's exposing himself. It's like self-snitching. In is this in 4K? No, it's self-snitching in 1080p, but close enough. Amateur Anth, thank you very much for tonight's support. Says, I think it's pretty clear that the daughter was the dealer/supplier, and it's the kid's fault. Ethan Van Sciver, probably. Yes, that is his. Of course, it was the kid's. Like, you know, you're a dad, struggling dad with a massive YouTube channel and used to be national attention. And how do you deal with those kids that just can't stop bringing their habit into your house? It's disgusting. It's disgraceful. Someone needs to teach those kids a lesson. And Nicholas, with a tenner, says he could tell me the sun was warm and I'd have to go outside to check wearing a coat. Very, very true. Very true. All right, let us continue.
You may have a statute
So he's
which
going to
requires the Secretary.
This is the unaccelerated version of what we just looked at from Gun News Network.
Of State to bring suit against the state government or the state board of elections if there's some sort of maybe very close result that will trigger a mandatory runoff that may require legal action from one party. Now, let's say that a Democrat Secretary of State is required by law to bring suit against a candidate who just won the Democratic election in a state, or I guess against the Elections Commission for a candidate of their same party. The presumption would be they may not go on against.
These Ralph ones, sorry, it's such a dark topic, honestly. But these Ralph things just make me laugh every time. Maybe the kids is the Antichrist. You ever think about that? Good. Oh man, Ralph is just such a fountain of entertainment. Wendy with a 10, thank you very much, says, after emceeing the Lego Law streams for a year, I finally got my dad's interested in YouTube by telling him about this drama. Thanks, Nick. You're a literal boomer's dream. I guess he's got to find that new audience. Although I think his audience is actually quite popular with the boomers. But who can say? And Tinkle Tits McGee, a great name. And a great little profile picture, kind of a retro synthwave cat, says, Nick is the kind of dude who would have his wife shave his body on live stream to pass a follicle test. What the fuck? I suppose if you shave off all your hair, then they can't test you. GG government. Like, I don't know if you've seen it, but there's like someone photoshopped Nick without his hair off. And people says it looks like me. Come on now. That's very rude, I think. But yeah. I guess that's one way to do it, but who can say? Government. That'd be a 4D chess move, is shaving off all your hair. I'm not sure that. I wonder if someone has got to have tried that before, right? Show it. If someone DMs it to me, I'll show it. But otherwise, I'm not going to go looking for it.
Their own party very hard. So what you'll often find in that case is the opposing party or the opposing party candidate would intervene in the lawsuit. And they would then make sure that the lawsuit is pursued vigorously. Or, for example, if a Secretary of State is sued about maybe a gun policy, a highly volatile or controversial issue, you may have a gun rights activist group take over in that lawsuit because that might be a more vigorous defense or offense in the suit. That's an intervener. So if you say that we have not intervened on behalf of our children, that would be, I guess, technically correct.
There it is. It's just a word salad designed to distract you. What was this one? Sorry. Kind of weird having Johnny Depp and Joker hang on the wall. It's not weird at all, because it does a few things. First of all, it appeals to the people that enjoyed the Johnny Depp case. It's like, hey, remember how much fun we had during the Johnny Depp case? We could have that fun again. But also because he associates with the Joker. It's like, if you just have one bad day, you could be Rekietalaw. You have one bad day and the government busts down your door on your 9-year-old's birthday party and they find out she's been tested for 10 times the limit of coke. Just one bad day. It could happen to anybody. Jojo Studio for 2 says, Cecil's license plate says IP4 cash. Is that true? Also, I think, Jojo Studio, I think I saw a really funny comment you had in one of Nick's streams. I think I remember seeing it. I can't remember what it was, though. But it actually made me laugh out loud while I was watching that. It was a very spicy one. I can't remember exactly what it was, though. But I saw it and noticed it. So your humor is not going unnoticed.
But that's only because we cannot intervene. We are already parties to that suit.
All right. This is the picture. This is the picture of Nick with no hair. This is how he's going to pass the drug test. This is how Nick can still win. The question is, you put a 1 for yes and a 2 for no. Does hairless Nick and I look similar? So do you think that I look like hairless Nick? I say no. I mean, I got a big no. We got similar nose behavior going on here. You rat chat. I could already see them coming through. Oh my goodness. It's not true. This picture, like this hairless Nick picture, has convinced me. Like, I always thought it was cringe if you go bald to grow a beard, but now I get it. Now I get it that if I go bald, if I actually do go bald, and I've had this hairline for like 10 years, guys, so I think I'm going to be fine. I've just always had a bit of a widow's peak. If I go bald, I am definitely growing a beard. I cannot live my life like this. I cannot live like that. All right. You can judge for yourself. Let's continue. Remember, this is a pretty serious topic, so we need to break it up with a little bit of levity. Can you feed milk? Can you feed your kids? Yes, I can. There was like another funny thing is like someone in my YouTube comments was like, "You rat vulture dancing on this man's grave." No, it's just I'm reporting it as it's a story people are interested in, right? And I know something about it, so I can talk about it a bit without sounding like a complete idiot. Oh, at least I hope so, right? It's like, "You vulture rat dancing on his grave. You gonna get yours?" And I kept talking about, like, I was asking him, how is talking about Nick any different than talking about the court cases that he talked about? How is it any different about talking about Monica Rial or Rod Toye or anyone, right? And then it was like, well, you're going to get your karma's going to come to you. And I was like, well, I mean, I guess, but as long as I never give kids some coke, I think I'll be okay. And Tutor Studio, thank you for the support, says, hairless Nick is the banjo kid from Deliverance. I've actually never seen Deliverance. Should I watch that?
So just a minor correction of a legal misunderstanding, things like that I can talk about, and I can try and clear up and provide
legal mindset in the chat. How's it going, Andrew? It says, "You're more like a Kiwi rat." This is defamation. People keep calling me a Kiwi. I'm not a Kiwi. I'm from Australia. I'm from Australia. I just lived in New Zealand. You rat, Andrew. You know this is true. You know. How's it going, man?
bit of an educational aspect to them. Going beyond that, obviously, I'm not going to talk legal strategy. I can't talk about various disagreements I may have with things that are.
I think his legal strategy at this point is self-actualization. Like, he's just going to look in the mirror every day and say, "I'm innocent, I'm innocent, I'm innocent," and manifest his destiny, and the court will just absolve him of everything. I mean, what else can he do, really?
That are presented as fact, but those will be addressed in the courtroom or in motion practice, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. With all that, I do thank everybody for their continued most important thing, which is
the money.
Offers of prayers.
Oh, never mind. Oh, I thought I was going to get it that time. The super chats. No, oh no, the prayers. Yeah, sending thoughts and prayers your way. Yeah, sure. I'm sure.
Good thoughts and support for my family, particularly my children. This is not a fun time for them. And as much as it's not a fun time for me, they're far more important than I ever have been. That's always
very
been
base.
true of mine.
Nicholas joining as a Giga Chad level. Jeez, thanks a lot, man. I'm going to send the private link out for the Discord after this stream. If anyone else wants to join too, consider it. Help support the channel. You don't have to pay, of course. It's a free show, but, you send a like, maybe say hi in the chat. It does help me out with the algorithm and stuff like that. But of course, I love my supporters the most. You're the best people.
Entire life. People can decide what they will based on the facts that they see and what they determine about me and anybody else. I can't stop that, but I know it's true. And, that's all that really matters at this point, because I'm sorry to say this, your opinion doesn't mean fucking shit. No matter who you are out there, if you're not my government involved in my case with my family, your opinion is going to take a back burner to everything else I need to do.
It's kind of a funny statement to make. Like, it is true that, like, you shouldn't try and fight for the opinions of strangers on the internet. But at the same time, your entire income, well, apart from the trust fund, I suppose, allegedly, is dependent on an audience. And I'm not sure this is a great strategy to tell your audience to piss off. Like, we keep seeing these examples, right, where self-righteous directors are saying, like, if you don't like my show, then you can piss off. And then the next article from them is like, why does nobody watch my show? Why is nobody watching the recent Doctor Who series? Why is nobody watching, what is it, Miss Marvel or some shit? You tell people to fuck off, they're going to fuck off. It's not a good strategy.
And if that means you have a negative opinion of me, cool. See, on the flip side, all will out at some point. And that's what I keep telling people. All will eventually out. Sucks for me that I have to wait for a long time to do it, but hey, them's the ropes.
All right, that's the first 22 minutes. I think this is about when he starts talking about his ethics complaints.
With that, why am I in so many people's DMs? How many people's DMs am I in?
Stop sending thoughts on Instagram, Jamaican hookers DMs, and you won't be in so many people's DMs. Now, that's, if you want to see the rest of his stream, you can obviously watch on his stream. There's a couple timestamps I wrote down. I think there was something at 52 minutes. I think that's after he gets to the super chat segment. So we'll just check this out. Let's have a look.
Of men were feeling, specifically people, especially
go back
men,
a bit.
him alive.
Let's see.
I liked Heath Ledger more than Heath Ledger liked Heath Ledger. I would have kept him alive.
All right, it's loading for a second. We'll see. Maybe my internet's giving out. Who can say? Also, Tinkled Tits McGee joined as member. Thank you very much. Very big amounts of support. Bigly support today. Has his wife made any public comments? I don't think so, and that would be a terrible idea. Let's see. Is this going to load? Sometimes the internet's a little bit weird. Give me a second, lads. Give me a second. We'll just refresh this.
You chose the gayest Joker.
Okay, there we go.
Not even base Heath Ledger, but the feminine crybaby Joaquin Phoenix. I did. I actually prefer this Joker. I really do. I liked Heath Ledger.
Heath Ledger was a good Joker. I will say that. This is a pretty cringe. Like, it's very well painted, but it's not worth $60,000.
I liked Heath Ledger more than Heath Ledger liked Heath Ledger. I would have kept him alive.
Also, the Ape Escape memes I can see in next chat are very funny. That's, if you're not up to date on that, April getting away from any like charges is called the Ape Escape. Very, very funny. Very rude though.
But no,
you didn't hear about this at Civil Law? How's it going, Kurt? So like, I'm not sure the exact price of it, but I remember there was someone had a picture of a selfie that Nick posted when he was at the art gallery auction or charity auction, whatever he bought this. And he was saying, like, I wish I could tell you how much this cost. And there has been theories that is between 30 and 60,000 for this Joker poster. Now, my theory, which I have no evidence to back up, is that the trust fund pays for all his art purchases in some sort of, you know, like allowance of so much money a year to spend on charities or fundraisers. That would the only way I can believe that he's spending this much money on paintings. He has said in the past that he spent over 30,000 on a painting before. I'm pretty sure the Joker one was meant to be 30 to 60,000, but that's the rumor. Even if it's not true, it's kind of funny though. And isn't that the real truth? That the more entertaining something is, the more believable it should be. Not really, but yeah, kind of.
I always like.
He said 70 or 75. That's what I'm going to call it now.
Reason. I think he resonated.
Okay, so this is the Joker monologue, I suppose.
A ton with how a generation of men were feeling, specifically people, especially at the time that I was
doing the show, $10K on a
when
guitar
this is out, was
signed by Kurt Russell.
I guess the white male demographic between 20 and 35, really. Maybe a little older, a little younger, either way. But I think they resonated with watching the world be absolute shit around them, and just having to sit there and wallow in it while everybody else just fucks off. And
could be you, chat.
And nothing
One
makes
bad
any
day,
sense to them.
the government breaks down your door.
You have this compulsive laugh, or well, he did. That laugh was perfectly symbolic of the frustration and rage that you have to channel through no outlet. I always loved that about it, right? And then, of course, you get what you fucking deserve.
Can somebody... I need to see... You get what you fucking deserve. We need to have, like, the... what is it? The Curb Your Enthusiasm song. You get what you fucking deserve. Arrested for cocaine and giving it to minors. Bum, bum, ba-da, 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 ba-da. Well, I mean, I guess you do get what you deserve. Funny how that goes. Amateur. And says Nick has become more of a lolcow than Jack Murphy and John Goldman. By the way, did you know that Nick went to a swingers resort with his wife in the Bahamas years ago, and she really loved the BBC? I know they went to the resort. I don't know if she loves the BBC, but I would assume if you're going to Jamaica, you're probably gonna, like, would you go to Greece and not get a kebab? Would you go to Jamaica and not have a BBC? That's the real question. By the way, where is Drex Lamel? I guess he's just he's out. He's out. It's too degenerate even for him. But no, like arguably, and I think you can make a great argument that Jack Murphy is a shit person and a grifter and a cuck, but Jack Murphy didn't involve children in his degeneracy. So how can you say Nick's a better man than Jack Murphy? Because if you want to be a single dude, or with no kids, or like wife or hang on girlfriend or whatever, and just go nuts, it's fine, because you don't have kids to influence. But Nick did. So he is worse. He is worse than Jack Murphy. He is worse than Ron Toye. He is a total hypocrite. What more can you say? Because at least those people weren't degenerate around kids. I guess Ron Toye kind of was, but he was just being like a internet tough guy, essentially, and making like bold claims like, oh, I'm going to kill a judge's kid, but he never actually acts on it. And he threw a remote at his wife, which is pretty bad. Don't get me wrong. But Ron Toye, as far as I know, never gave cocaine to kids. If this comes out as all true, when this is all said and done, how do you come back from that? I really can't see any possible way back. And of course, I hope he does come back from this in a good way. Like, I hope he gets clean, hope he gets the family back together. But I don't know if he can exist on the internet anymore. Fortunately, he does have multimillionaires for grandparents. So must be nice. Must be nice.
Rather good moment. Red shirt Lexi says, you said you tested clean, but what about your offspring? Also, your arms look like they have a lot of weird marks on them. Yeah, guys, I don't know how else to say this. I know people are very
So again, I will say that I don't put a lot of stock in the track marks on the arms. I think it is probably explainable by either itching or scratching, or just being like tweaking and scratching sores until they bleed. That's what would be my theory, but I will make the image larger so you can judge for yourself.
Concerned about weird
I don't
marks.
personally believe it.
I have cholinergic urticaria. Cholinergic or cholinergic.
Although I will say that I've seen some photos online that show whatever he's describing now, and it looks totally different from this.
So when I'm warm, like right now, I break out into hives.
Oh yeah, like I guess it's a bit rude to mention this, but Aaron has come out and said that because of Nick's heat allergy, he had to take breaks during sex because he was getting too warm and he had to go stand outside and cool off. So, I mean, it's not have anything to do with this case, but yikes.
It's cool. And sometimes they get
kind of weird
really
to own a hot
itchy,
tub though
and
if you have like a heat allergy as well.
And they scratch open. It's not fun. It's not pleasant. It started when I was 35, and it's been a fucking miserable nightmare for 7 years. So cool. There you go. There you have it. It's almost like, there's a reason for them.
What does he mean by that?
Oh my goodness. Let's see. Pest.
All right. So I think there was another one there was something interesting at 118 as well. So
I like this one. Alice Martinez says, I have eczema. It gets itchy and my skin, and it gets bloody. Yeah. It's amazing what an itchy skin condition can do. It's really fucking frustrating.
It may have
Stacey
just been more than
Pruitt
that.
retracted the message, but thank you for the chat. EW Raptor says, what were you and April looking for before the stream?
Oh, that's right. So he had the hot mic on and he didn't realize it. Again, we played like this is what happened in the hot mic.
Fuck, I didn't bring the fan mail down.
Didn't bring the fan mail down.
Can you go ask?
So can you go ask who? Now, Aaron has stated that this is his ex-wife's voice. But obviously, if there's two women in the house, there's someone else to go ask. But again, I think it is very funny to go, honey, hey, honey, where's my ethics complaints? Your what? My ethics complaints. I've got 57 of them. Oh, silly men. Always don't. I mean, it's so relatable. Misplacing your ethics complaints and asking your significant throuple to fudge your. How is she gonna? April has no fucking idea what her ethics complaints look like. But this does confirm that she's the corner demon that everyone's been thinking, knowing that it was, right? This is the beginning of the stream. I'm actually shocked that he did not edit that out because it's so easy to edit out the beginning of a stream. Like, why would you press live on the stream, then get up and start yelling to April? Like, it's just, don't sit down in your chair or stand up, I guess, which I'm not sure this is a good move to stand up. But why would you do that? He's been doing this for like how long? Like 10 years? No, it's like 5 years, I think, at this point, but whatever.
We were worried when we heard you looking for something on the hot mic.
Yeah, that is true, though. This ethics complaint, I did watch the entire stream. So the bulk of the stream is talking about the ethics complaint. The ethics complaint is total bullshit. It's basically someone's mad that he's like, it's basically someone that's mad that he's swearing on his live stream. But there are some funny things. So if you are looking for a bit of a laugh, I do think it's entertaining. At one point, I guess he says something to the effect of like, Nick is drinking on stream and giving people bad legal advice, and he's like, "Well, yeah, I am." It's kind of funny. If you're invested in the Nick story, you might get a bit of a laugh at it, but you know, I don't want to just cannibalize all his content or anything. So go watch it on Nick's channel if you so would be interested in seeing that. And yeah, the ethics complaints have all been bullshit. I agree with that as well.
I was looking for all my fucking windows. That's what I was doing.
Why is he like, this is just a bold-faced lie. So I'm going to replay.
Looking for before the stream. EDW Raptor says, what were you and April looking for before the stream? We were worried when we heard you looking for something on the hot mic. I was looking for all my fucking windows.
No, you weren't. You were looking for the ethics complaint. You were walking around talking to like, this is just a lie. He does it so easily, though. He lies it just rolls off the tongue.
That's what I was doing. Reformed Convict says, eat more, be fatty again. Best wishes, stay strong. Again, at my lowest weight when I was sick was 150 pounds.
Okay.
And that was way fucking low. I'm probably 165 to 168 right now.
Look, that's too light for a man. You got to be over 200 pounds if you want to call yourself a man. And you don't wear a short sleeve t-shirt if you're what the fuck do you call it? If your forearm is the same width as your bicep, don't wear a t-shirt on a live stream. Wear a long sleeve shirt or a sweater or something, right?
It's about where I want to be. Saints until I get into the gym and, you know, grow like 5 pounds of shoulders.
That's never going to happen.
Saints and Maker says, hey, Nick, sending you love and prayers from
the shoulders in the room with us now, Mr. Rekieta.
With your busy daytime schedule, do a mid-evening law review stream. We'll show up, chin up, say hi to Sunny for me. Rachel the Riveter. Hey, what's up, Rachel? Yeah, first of all, I will say hi to Sunny for you. But yes, again, looking to figure out where in the daytime to place.
Yeah, so this is a big announcement, is that Nick always loved doing court streams, despite he's saying he hates doing them. But he's going to start doing live streams during the day. And I think he said he was going to start with a court case that's already 100 days in. I don't think it's going to go too well, honestly, because like a lot of the courts, like the live stream panels were popular because he got a large group of people with different ideas and legal experience and everything. I'm not sure that many lawyers are going to be that keen to give him free work anymore. Because that's what they were doing. They were going on there and making Nick make a lot of fucking money. And they were getting exposure for it, sure. But like, Nick got the first mover advantage in basically creating this sector of the LawTube, which is pretty simple. Like, some of the best ideas are simple, right? Just having a bunch of lawyers watching a court case is interesting, right? I'm not sure it's going to work for him going forward. He said he hates doing them. He's going to have to fake enjoying these long court case streams. Not to say that he couldn't succeed doing it again. I find it hard to believe, because if you're doing something you hate, you can only fake doing that for so long before people start to notice. Nathan C. joined as member. Oh, no, sorry. Member for 2 months. The fact that he lies so casually is offensive. Very true. Very true. Thank you for your continued support. I think that's the end of the... I mean, there's a lot of stuff you can talk about this stream of, but I think that's all I wanted to talk about. So we might be coming to the end.
John Burns says, putting aside all accusations, glad to see you've put yourself on a cleaner path without alcohol. That's true. No alcohol. It's great. Joe Moses says, weird.
All right. There we go. The end of the poll is that 74% of the chat with 1,480 votes, holy crap, said that Nick is guilty. 10% said that he didn't do nothing. Interesting. Did I miss this? Did I miss this chat? I think I missed this one. Did I miss this one? I must have. Amateur. And with $10 says, if I had a wife, she would be like Kayla. If I had a wife, she would be like Kayla. Sits around like Peggy Bundy eating buns while not having a job. I'm also paying for a nanny / housemaid. Not sure what you missed here. What you meant here. Eating just reminds me of those Kelly comics from The Youngin, where he always has the woman eating buns. But Peggy Bundy. Oh, you mean from what is that show? But the Bundy shit. Married with Children, right? Bit before my time, but good show, entertaining. All right, I think that is the end of everything. Let me just have a look. Is anyone streaming? Is anyone else on streaming to send you over to? Doesn't look like it. Let me have a quick thing. Let's see. Usually someone's streaming at this time, but it looks like no. I guess Jeff was like sleeping off his hangover. So I guess that will be the end of that. I'll just have a quick look to see if I missed anything. And we will be continuing the coverage of Rekieta as it seems necessary. It's not going to be like every stream, but as things that I think are important to point out or comment on, there will be more streams on that. So if you're interested in that, be sure to subscribe. Consider joining as a member, but it's voluntary, not going to force you to. Jeff's not deceased. He's going to be fine. But yeah, it doesn't look like anyone else is streaming that I know of, at least. So, wait, is this one streaming? No, doesn't look like it. I'll just switch this account for a second. I'll have a quick look at the chat to see what the chat says. Just you and me now, chat. Although it is good to go on a high note. I do have some food waiting for me as well. Unbreaded. I don't see that making a comeback. But you never know. Damn streamers taking weekends off yet. Well, you still got me. It is Saturday. Although I've only got about 30 minutes of freedom left before my girlfriend comes over. So I got to clean up and eat all the food before she gets here. Otherwise, she's going to eat it. And then I'll be very sad. Has anyone heard from him? Jeff? He's fine. Jeff metabolizes alcohol very quickly. He's probably absolutely fine. What is this from Ralph saying? You are out of energy so fast, old man. I can go several hours with 100 energy, bish. Sad and pathetic. True and real. Well, that said and done, I guess we're not going to end anything better than this. So, stay safe out there, guys. Have a great weekend. And what else can you say but don't give Coke to kids? Peace.